Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. We had some audio issues for the first 4 minutes of this podcast, so Mallory doesn't sound that great. Just a quick disclaimer. And now for our quote. From The Happy Prince and Other Stories by Oscar Wilde. I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I'm saying.
Welcome back to the Reading Room Ruffians, your favorite library podcast. Today is a special book chat with just my precious baby BFF Ariel.
It's me.
And me, Mallory. Y'all are in for a real treat. Our Supreme Overlord Carla is off on a nice little hot adventure of her own at the Arts and Crafts Fair this weekend, so she's not here. And Zach is on a plane flying to us.
Yep.
Yay! But he's not going to be on an episode with us in person because he's dumb like that.
No, he just came to get a cat.
Yeah. That tracks. Okay, let me see. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and get started.
Do you want to talk about the Bigfoot Festival first?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, because
Yep. I got
someone didn't write down an intro for us. Oopsies. Okay, yeah. So we went to the Bigfoot Festival in Sutton, West Virginia, and that was, what was the date? It was the 28th of June?
I think so. Yeah.
I think.
And it's their fourth annual one they just had.
Oh, that was their fourth one. Wow.
Yeah.
It was fun.
It was fun. It was very hot.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And it wasn't exactly what I expected. There was vendors everywhere. So if you wanted to shop, that was the place to go.
And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, she spent a lot of money.
I spent too much money.
She don't know how to be poor.
Okay, I was fine, though. I was fine until I saw Mothman, all right?
I know.
I got a big crocheted Mothman, everybody. He's the best.
He's very cute. And I'm very jealous, but I
snuggle him.
As a poor baby.
I bought him for both of us. He sits between our desks.
Yeah.
And so he's like our emotional support Mothman.
Yeah. So if anybody out there wants to make me a Mothman of my own so we don't have to share, or just send me money to buy one, that's cool too.
He was $35, just so you know.
just so everyone's aware.
But also those vendors were like probably one of my favorite. They were
really
so
liked
nice
them.
and funny.
Yeah. We talked to a few authors from there. One was George Dudding, and he has about 1 billion books. We bought 2 of them. One about UFOs, and then the other one was about cryptids in West Virginia. And he does like a lot of research and stuff like that. And he's actually from Spencer, West Virginia. But I don't know if he's originally from there, but that's where he's at now. And he was talking to me about possibly coming to the library to sell some of his books, and maybe we can get him on the podcast too. So that would be good. And then our other one was Zach Bales, and we bought 2 of his books also, and they were the Cryptid Atlas and then the UFO Atlas. And it's pretty cool. It's got maps and stuff like that, and like, you know, all the UFOs that have been seen in West Virginia in it. And he is very excited to actually come on the podcast with us. So we'll have to schedule him, but he's from Kentucky.
Yeah. And all of the places in these books that he's gone to and researched, which is really cool.
Yeah, he was talking about how he went and hunted down the hillside that some people actually saw Mothman from, because it was never actually mentioned which hillside, and he investigated it and was able to figure it out. So that's kind of cool. Very cool. Because we love Mothman. We do. They had Bigfoot people walking around. They had Bigfoot on a motorcycle, Bigfoot on a hoverboard, and then just some of them walk around. There was a bunch of food trucks, and then there was like a almost like carnival area for kids.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cool. And they had Turtle Man there. Well, we didn't go see him.
Yeah.
But I did see later that apparently the day after we were there, he found a bat or something in one of the bathrooms or something, and he was doing a whole thing about it. Like,
there were also the mountain monster men, apparently. Yeah.
So
we didn't really see them either, but
no, it was pretty cool though. I mean, it was a nice little festival. Very, very hot. They had live music.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can offer any notes to the Bigfoot Festival, if you do music, I would put it somewhere that there's some shade or put up some canopies for people, because people are more likely to sit and listen to your musicians if they don't have to sit in direct sunlight.
Also, I would maybe schedule times for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there wasn't really anything else going on during those times, and it would have been nice to have like one specific time for the performers. Everybody just gather, because I mean, like the vendors are there the whole time. They're not going to move anywhere. So yeah, that was.
Yeah,
I would maybe also have like a little bit more of like a.
I would have your speakers earlier in the day too, because having them at night, like from 6 to 8, if you're there all day and you're in that heat all day. We made it until about 3, and then we were like, no, we're done.
Yeah, we ate our food. We got like some of our water drank, and we kind of just looked at each other and was like, we've seen it though.
It was way too hot. So yeah. But yeah, I would definitely try to make a visit to it if you can next year. It looks like their dates are the 26th through the 28th next year.
Oh, okay.
They've already posted, but they do have a Facebook page that you can look up. And it's sponsored by the West Virginia Bigfoot Museum and then a few other local businesses.
Yep. Yeah, it was really fun, though. I'm so glad we got to go. We scoped out a lot of vendors for ourselves, like for MiniCon or even Mysticon. They had a lot of really great stuff. Stickers.
Yeah, we bought a lot of stickers.
Yeah.
I bought some earrings.
Oh my God, the earrings.
I got chickens with pink cowboy boot earrings. I love them so much.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I got a new rom-com, everybody, from the vendor, one of the vendors. Her store, well, this is fantastic and it's related to our podcast, but her storefront is called Bookish and Bigfoot, and it's extra hilarious because she does monster smut. Like, she doesn't write it, but she's like into it. And specifically, whenever we were there, she was reading a Bigfoot smut book, and it was hilarious. We had made shirts for all of us to go. Carla was supposed to go, but she ended up being sick. So she wasn't able to go, but her shirt was supposed to say Bigfoot smut and mud puppies. And if y'all remember my smut month last July, Carla deemed wolf smut mud puppies.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot smut is just because somebody donated the Bigfoot smut books. I don't know what she did with those.
I don't know.
But we're going to have to do something with them.
I do not know what she did with them. I know she was talking about making us read it as a deep dive, and we were like, no. Yeah.
I'm scared of it. I really am. I really am.
Okay, the cover of this book, guys, has Bigfoot on it, and he's like supposed to be like this like hunky Bigfoot, whatever. And we were debating whether he had a loincloth on or he was just that hairy down there.
Just in that spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's not nearly as hairy as you would think Bigfoot would be.
No.
Except for right there.
Yep.
So.
Oh my gosh.
Outrageous.
But yeah, so she had these blind dates with books, and it was super cute. She had like, I don't know, I think there were 7 or 8 books.
Yeah.
And I went through them all. They had like suspense thrillers or romance, and like the number of peppers for spicy. And I found one that was only a 1 out of 5 for spice. And I was like, okay, well, we all know I don't.
Except for your smut month.
Right. Yeah. That was a one-time thing. And And so I was like, oh, 1 out of 5. That doesn't sound too bad. So I looked at the rest of it, and it was basically what'd she call it?
A Hallmark.
Like reading your favorite or watching your favorite Hallmark movie. And I was like,
yeah.
Yep, got to do that.
Yeah. It was really cool. There was a couple that I thought about getting, but
yeah,
I just wasn't going to fork out the money for it because I was poor.
Yep. I would like to clarify that I also was poor and I should not have done it.
You shouldn't have. She's like, why did you slap me? And I was like, well, it's your money.
Sometimes I just need help.
I'm not the person to look
I
for
have
that.
no control sometimes. It was worth it though, because
treat yourself.
The book is actually, it sounds really cute, and eventually I'm sure I'll talk about it on a future book chat. So
yeah.
Yay for you. Okay, so let's start talking about our books. Since our last book chat, we both have read...
I read 6.
Yeah.
Which is like a big deal for me.
Yes.
Granted, a lot of them were short, and
It
a couple
doesn't
of them
matter.
were for the podcast. But I was proud of myself. My Goodreads has A Court of Frost and Starlight as recently updated.
Mine recently did that. Mine does that too. And it's not actually on my recently read, but on the... Yeah,
excuse me.
it just keeps
just
showing
so everyone's
up.
aware, I gave A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. Is it Maas?
Yeah.
3 stars, because yuck. Anyways.
I think, was that Nesta's book? Nesta's was the only one that got 4 stars for me. Everybody
I
else
don't
got
know.
2 or 3.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Me either.
Okay. So the first book that I finished in June was Rolling in the Deep. I actually finished it. I know it was late from the podcast, but it was so good. And we've already talked about it, so I'm not really going to get into that.
You can, though.
But
It's just us,
I
I won't
also
tell.
read Into the Drowning Deep later that month. And that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was the first one in the series, I guess, because the other one's like a prequel.
Rolling in the Deep is like a 0.5. So yeah, a prequel. I think we could call it like the actual first book, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then Rolling Into the Drowning Deep, like a second book, in my opinion. Because, I mean, Rolling in the Deep really stands on its own.
Yeah.
It's a complete story, even though it is super freaking fast. But yeah, and then Into the Drowning Deep, I was very concerned that it would fall flat because it was such a big book comparatively.
Yeah. If you listen to the audiobook, Rolling in the Deep.
Rolling, yeah.
Is like 5 hours. It's only 128 pages.
Mm-hmm.
But Into the Drowning Deep is 17 hours and it's 448 pages.
Yeah.
Now, I finished this book in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Now, I do listen at 1.75 speed.
But still.
Like, that's how good it was.
Yeah.
I started it and I was like, oh, I got to keep listening. I got to keep listening. Because it not only has like the kind of creep factor of these like mermaids that will devour your flesh, and actually are really freaking intelligent.
Very.
So intelligent.
Like terrifying intelligent.
Yeah. But it also has all that science aspect in it, and I love that.
Yeah.
Because you learn about these different species of animals and how like the mermaids are similar to certain ones and how they're trying to figure out exactly what it is. And like they do end up dissecting one of them in the book. So it's like really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then there's like certain people that die that you're like, yes.
Yep.
And then there's other people that die. You're like, oh,
man.
So, but some people do survive this one. And that one girl, I don't know how she survived.
Me either.
Oh my God.
That was insane.
Yes.
That's definitely just, yeah. There are people that survive this one. It was very surprising.
Yeah.
Like,
I really thought.
more than one way.
Really thought she was going to die.
Yeah.
So.
I was also, after the first book, I did not hold my breath for anybody surviving.
Yeah, see, I figured, everybody's going to die on this one.
Yeah.
But no, some people survived and they ended up bringing back like, this dead mermaid. Did they bring back the live one? I can't remember. I don't know. I don't remember.
But yeah, all of the different aspects of the science, because all of the scientists on this voyage...
they're all kinds of different scientists.
Yeah.
There's biologists.
Not just marine biologists or oceanographers. There's anyone and everyone has...
There's botanists on there.
Yeah. And all of them obviously are specialized in the ocean, but wow.
Yeah.
Everything that goes into it is, and you hear from a lot of the different scientists and what they do, which is super cool.
It is like all like the different equipment they're using and what they're like looking for, and you know, all their discoveries and stuff like that, and how it relates back to all this. And then there's like surprise ending sort of where you figure out why all these mermaids are taking all these people. So,
oh yeah,
I don't want to get too into that, but that's
crazy,
terrifying to think about.
Absolutely,
yeah. Like if you have a fear of the ocean,
don't.
Like I don't have a fear of the ocean, but like I would be hesitant to go in open water if I was like way out there.
Yep. It's like, yeah, I really. These are the types of books like. We've talked about this a couple of times. Mermaids, nobody thinks that they're real. They're fake. They're a hoax. They're like myth and legend, whatever. I truly think that they are real, I am positive that this is how.
That's exactly how they'd be.
Yeah, and I mean, like even if it's not specifically everything down to the T of what Mira Grant wrote, but like scary, terrifying, absolutely.
Yeah,
and
I wonder if she has the degree in like.
See, I don't know. We talked about this.
Like just listening to her in this book too.
She's so well researched, and I want to read the rest of her books just to see if the rest of them are like that. Because that Parasite one, I think, is about. Yeah, we really do.
Mira, you want to come on?
Please come to us. We're so annoying. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, that's where we were.
So yeah, that's my first book that I'm going to talk about. So if you want to go ahead.
Yes, that's what I was trying to look.
I knew that we both had talked about that one. That's kind of why I picked it first, so we could both talk about it.
I don't remember the last book I talked about on our last book chat. But I am going to say I read, let me see, June 8th. Yeah, so I finished reading Into the Drowning Deep on June 1st. So I think I'm there because we had I was still reading it. I hadn't finished it. So, okay, then I have completed officially the Percy Jackson series.
Did you finish it?
Yes.
Oh,
so
cool.
The Last Olympian was the last book in the series. And then he made The Chalice of the Gods, which is like, it's been a couple years later after the last book. And both of them were really good. I was sad for like The Last Olympian. That one was a feels book.
Oh no.
And it wasn't like super feels or anything. It was just a lot of it. I didn't know how happy or unhappy I was going to be if people would live or die. And like I get attached to characters. We all know it.
Yeah.
So that one was like, oh my God, I can't do this if certain people don't move forward. But yeah, they were super good. They were a nice change of pace from everything. Obviously, The Last Olympian was like a little bit more in the realm of the fantasy books that I read, where I'm like, oh no. But but for the most part, they've all been like fairly chill, even if there are like life and death situations. I never feared like too much. But yeah, they were so good. I gave every one of them 5 stars. None of us are surprised. No. But
I don't think I ever finished the Percy Jackson series.
They were really good. I liked them. And I liked reading them as an adult. I definitely can tell I am an adult because most of the time I just was like talking to Percy as if he were my nephew.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, Percy, what are you doing? Percy, how did you get into this? Quit it. Percy, why didn't you just talk to somebody first?
No.
Yeah, basically.
Because they're teenagers and that's what they do.
And they're also demigods. And they don't need help. Silly babies. So yeah, that was 2 of my books. And I think I read 6 or 7 in June. So not bad.
Did I talk about The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black?
No, I don't think that you did. I know that you had gotten through The Stolen Heir.
Okay. So I finished The Prisoner's Throne, which is the second one in that duology. And I'm just going to preface this by saying it is not as good a love story as Jude and Carden.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
But it's not as good.
I kind of figured it wouldn't be just because
I don't have that same attachment to Oak as I do to Carden.
Yeah.
And while Ren is just as vicious as Jude, it's a different type. So in this one, Oak is a prisoner and he has all these opportunities to leave. And instead, he doesn't. He searches for Ren and pretends that they're engaged.
What a little baby.
So he can stop a war between Elfhame and the Court of Teeth. But it's like this whole thing where they're trying to avoid a war and he's trying to like make Ren see that he's not this bad guy.
Yeah.
And you think through most of it, I'm pretty sure you think that Ren's going to die.
Yeah.
Because every time she uses her magic, she gets sicker and sicker.
Aw, baby.
Yeah. And it ends up working out, you know, but like not the way you would expect, which I think is kind of like what Holly Black does. It's like when Carden turns into the snake.
That's fair.
And Jude has to kill him.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's there is one moment in there where I was so scared that Carden was going to die.
Yeah.
And I was not okay.
Yeah.
Just if you're in love with Carden, just be aware he does not die. I will give you that. I'm not going to go too into depth about where or what happened, but I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that
like
one
I
was
was ready
rough.
to cry.
Yeah, that one was for sure rough.
Yeah, definitely. It's good.
Yeah.
But it's not as good
It's not the same.
You know, the Coral Prince trilogy.
So I'll talk about Silence for the Dead next, which was a book club book last month.
So good.
Yeah, it was really good. Simone St. James for positive like is a new favorite, and I'm telling Carla that we have to have absolutely everything by her because
she does really well.
Yeah, I've now read 3 of her books, and all 3 of them have been absolute bangers. I mean, I just don't even know how you...
I think I've only read 2 of hers, but they're both really good.
Yeah. I did the book for Cold Cases, this one, and there was another one. I read it last year. I'll have to look for it later. Anyway, yeah. They're so good. Shoot. The Haunting of Maddie Clare.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My God. That one was so good. She has this really great way of writing absolutely terrifying stuff, but we all know I'm an absolute baby, but it's never too much for me. I'm always like,
it's like she does spooky really well.
Really, really well. Like I always get chill bumps reading what goes on in the books. And Ariel's talked about this one, so I won't like go over it too much again, but yeah, the main character is she has applied and been hired as a nurse. She is not a nurse. She lied her way to her position. Mm-hmm. And the head nurse knows that she is not a nurse and is kind of just like, we're desperate to keep people. So at the first sign of trouble, you're out, I guess. But like, you better take care of our people here. She really does. She does it in her own way. And her way is chaotic AF. It's like same, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, this one was so good. I loved pretty much every single stinking character in this book. Almost. Like the people I wasn't supposed to like, I obviously didn't like, but there was
a couple.
Yeah. There were bad guys. There were I was very attached to almost everybody in this book. Fantastic. 5 stars. Like, I would like to preface a lot of my 5 stars. If I talk about a book like this, I would give it 10 if I could. Like, a lot of my 5 stars are actually like 10 or 12 stars.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Silence for the Dead by Simone St. James.
All right. My next one is What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher. As we all know, I love T. Kingfisher. She does creepy super, super well. This book is the second one to the What Moves the Dead, which that book is based on Edgar Allan Poe's The House of Usher.
Yeah.
Where mushrooms essentially take over your body.
Yeah.
So kind of like Last of Us vibes, where there's like mushroom people.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is about the same character, the same main character. I believe their name is Alex. And they go to this cabin that they've inherited from their father. And the groundskeeper that was there is gone. Right? And this groundskeeper is like the type of person that would always make their bed. And so everything's like dusty and things aren't taken care of. And they're like, what happened? And their companion that they're with which is like an old army friend, is like, well, I'll go to town and I'll ask around.
Yeah.
And for some reason, while that friend is in town, Alex decides to go take care of the horses, which, that makes sense. But while they're doing that it feels like everything goes silent. Everything's muffled. Like they can't even form words in their mind quick or even voice them quick.
Oh.
Like everything's slowed down. Everything's quiet. And that's a reoccurring thing through the entire book.
Oh.
Right? And they think maybe it's just a worse stage of my tinnitus because they have tinnitus.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right, from the war. That's not what it is.
Oh.
that's not at all what it is.
Oh.
Well, they find out that these groundskeeper kind of died from congestion of the lungs and stuff like that. And the family member, the daughter of the groundskeeper is like, that's all it was. Which is like suspicious. Right?
Okay.
That's suspicious.
We wouldn't have asked.
So they're like, well, we need a new groundskeeper. And the only person that applies is this old widowed woman who just desperately needs the money. Right? Like nobody in the town wants to work here. And they're like, that's weird. And she brings her grandson with her.
Oh, no.
And he kind of does, the physical labor and she cooks and cleans and stuff. Well, they hear about this thing. I want to say it's called a morad. I can't remember what they call it, but it's like this ghost thing. Let me see if it says in here. No. Okay. But there's like this like ghost thing that they say, it's been buried and it's not resting. So it's coming to try to steal breath from the living so they can start breathing again and, live.
Yeah.
Right? Creepy. And the grandson starts getting sick and it happens while you're asleep.
Oh no.
Right? So like the grandmother's like, you gotta fight her. You gotta fight her. And he's like, it's in my dreams. I can't remember, And so Alex starts to get worried about, I can't remember that groundskeeper's guy's name, the grandson. Anyways, he's like, we'll switch places. I'll sleep out in the stable and you can have my bed in the house. Right? And the old lady, she's like doing all this like superstitious stuff, like I just spit on myself.
I seen it.
Putting like knives under the pillow so they have iron under their pillow.
Yeah.
Tying red string to things, like, all this stuff to try to like combat this ghost, like putting salt around the windows and the doors, and nothing is working.
Yeah.
Well, Alex starts sleeping out in the stable and starts having the same stuff happen to them. Like the ghost comes to them in their dreams and it feels like the air is being ripped out of their lungs.
Ooh.
Right? And every time that the ghost is nearby, that weird silent blanket goes on everything or everything's muffled and he can't think and can't do anything. And near the end, when things are getting really, really bad, I don't know if it's a dream or what, but like, I'm not going to get super into what happens, but the creepiest thing is they go to check on the horses and they go to touch their horse and half the horse's face just disintegrates.
No.
Yeah. Like, and then the flesh is like clinging to their skin and there's like bone dust everywhere. Yeah. It's bad. It's bad because they're like, it's just rotted away.
Yeah.
Well, they say that the ghost comes into the house by turning into a moth. So, everything's like moth eat essentially.
Oh, okay.
But it's really creepy. Surprisingly, nobody dies.
Except for the horse.
So, yeah. Crazy things happen. And it's really good. And if you like creepy books, I would definitely read this. You can read this one without reading What Moves the Dead.
Yeah.
Like, it's granted, it is a second to this, but it can be a standalone if you
kind of just like the same world, but different. Yeah.
Same characters.
Okay.
Whole type of and like it mentions the first book a little bit. Like there's a mushroom scientist. I can't remember what they're called. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah.
She comes to study some mushrooms while there, and she was in the first book. And Alex vaguely talks about like how can she still study mushrooms after everything that happened. So yeah, it's really good. It's really creepy, and it's a short read, so
yeah,
real good.
I don't know.
I finished that one in a day.
Would I be okay with them? I mean,
I think you would.
Would I have the first one?
I think so. It's not. I mean,
I don't know about it.
It's creepy, but it's not the hollow places.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
It's more like sort of like Simone St. James, where she does spooky really well, but in a not super scary way.
Okay.
She does creepy really well, but in a not super scary way.
Okay.
I mean, she can do real scary.
Yeah. That's yeah. So I don't know if you remember me talking about the book. I haven't talked about it on the podcast specifically, aside from whenever we had Susie on, and Susie had read another book by her. And now I have forgotten her name. Anyway, she, I'm so mad about it, but it was a horror book, and we have it. And, I think it's like Sylvia Moreno or something like that. It's her, like the author's name.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably not, I think Moreno is the last name. Anyway, she writes about, it's a gothic horror story, and most of her books take place in like Mexico or like other Latin American places. And that one I think is during like the 1960s, 1950s or 60s, or maybe the 20s. I don't know. Anyway, this woman goes out to a house, and I think she marries into the family or something. I don't really remember. It's been so long. It was a really creepy book, but a lot of it was like more gross than anything. And that one was also a similar premise. Like it was not necessarily mushrooms, but it was like fungus, and it took over like the house and the grounds, and there were like a whole bunch of other things. I don't want to like talk about but the worst part of that book was specifically how that stuff was happening. That's all. That's all. But it was a really, I think it's like Sylvia. Anyway, whatever. I need to quit. Like, it's that sort of like, I didn't think that was too scary, but it was creepy.
Yeah.
So, okay, I might give those a try.
Yeah. I mean, then they're little books, so if you can't read it, and then don't read it. But
yeah,
they're. If you can get through those, maybe you could read her other one. The one with the vultures.
I know which one you're talking about.
I can't remember the name, but I love T. Kingfisher so much.
Yeah. Listen, I was sold on
Nettle and Bone.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I did A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. Yeah. And you still need to read that one.
I know.
Oh my God, that one was so cute. I absolutely loved that. Ugh.
I found some suggestions for horror books that we're going to read for that deep dive.
I'm scared.
You should be.
Oh no.
Because there are like 3 books I recommend and 3 that I cannot, because they're so scary.
No. I won't read them. Yeah. I'll listen to you talk about them, but I will not read them. Okay. So the next book I'm going to talk about, I'm going to sneak one in and not really talk about it, but then talk about another one. So I finished The Dark Archive, which is book number 7 in the Invisible Library. I'm waiting on book number 8, and then I'm going to be done, and I'm a little bit sad by that. But these books are so much fun. Like, so much freaking fun. I cannot recommend them enough. And I don't know what else to tell you about them other than like all of the supernatural and paranormal and not really cryptids, but like things of legend and lore. Like 1000%. You would think that they are poorly done because a lot of them are poorly done in fantasy books.
Yeah.
They're just like troped out and everything, but they're different in such a way that it's like it's fresh and new, and it's also, I think, like very interesting takes on interdimensional worlds and separate worlds and all these things. Like specifically the Fae. The Fae aren't necessarily cohesive. I mean, obviously they prefer each other to dragons, who are like, so the Fae are chaos and the dragons are order.
Yeah.
And so they obviously hate each other. And the Fae fit into more of their own stories. Like every Fae is the main character of their own story, unless their trope otherwise states. So like if they are, like for instance, in this series, we've come across a couple of Fae who are like the right hand to some like mastermind or, you know, whatever, like the bruiser for like some mafia boss or something. Like that's their specific trope. And so like they will not necessarily gravitate toward like a mafia boss, but they will just gravitate towards somebody that has that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And they will put their all into being the best version of themselves that they could be. And it's a really cool take on this sort of, I don't know, like how stories play out for things like tropes.
Yeah.
It's like they're all tropes, but the more high chaos they are, the more hard pressed they are to be what their story is.
Yeah.
And some of them are less chaos. And so they're just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
I do what I want. This is, you know, this is what I would do because I say so. Like, and then the dragons are obviously all just order no matter what. And you find out there's like a bunch of plots from both Fae and dragons. There's also werewolves. There are vampires, although they're not really noted a lot throughout the series, which is a little bit creepy. And I'm kind of afraid for the last book because maybe they're going to be all in there. I don't know. But yeah, the main storyline throughout this whole thing has been terrifying. So there was an old librarian. I said I wasn't going to talk about this book, didn't I? Yeah. Go me. Anyway, I'm doing it. The main librarian, the main character, in the library, there is a traitor to the library, and his name is Albrick. And he defected and tried to ruin the library because he wanted to work with chaos magic, which as a librarian, you're not to do.
Yeah.
Like the library has magic, which magic in itself is a form of chaos, but library magic is different than regular chaos magic. So anyway, it's a whole big thing. And a lot of the series, he is absolutely like, he's terrifying. Like he does these really weird things, and I won't say specifically, but there is skin wearing.
Oh snap!
Yeah, it's really good. There are scary parts of these books. It's hilarious in a lot of ways. There's the British humor we love, so you know it's all throughout. And I don't know, there's just a lot of mystery, a lot of things that you're thinking that you're going to be able to solve, and you might get pieces, but not all of it. So I don't know. I highly recommend this series. I love this series so much.
I'll eventually get there.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah. It's 8 books though. So like, you know, it's not something to just lightly start unless you're ready to commit. You heard it.
Maybe next summer then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think I can get 8 books in before I start school in August.
No. Although they do go pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, continue because I wasn't going to talk about that book.
Okay, so the last book I'm actually going to talk about, because the only other book that I read besides this one is Flatland, which I did finish, and it's stupid. It's still stupid.
I'm not finishing.
I finished it, and I still thought, this is dumb. There's so many questions that are not, it's just, no. So the other book that I read is one that Zach suggested, and he kind of talked about it, I think, a little bit on here, but I'm going to go more in depth because it's me and I can't just skim over shit. Ooh, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Bleep.
So it's called Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer.
Oh, yeah.
This gave me What Moves the Dead kind of vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it, actually, which is surprising because a lot of times Zach his books are hit and miss.
Yeah.
It's either they're really good or you're like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you? No,
Yeah.
stop it. Like he did really good with Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Mm-hmm.
He did good with this one, but Flatland and Piranesi, absolutely not. Which, in case anybody needs to know, the company Leica that makes Coraline and Cuba and the Two Strings, the stop motion animation type movies, picked up Piranesi, and they're making a freaking movie about it. So now I have to sit down and watch that so I can properly hate on it. Just so we're all clear. Okay, anyways, back to this book. So Annihilation, it is about, there is like I don't know if it's a planet or a world or like another dimension or something like that. I want to say they call it like Planet X. But
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily means they're going to a separate planet.
Yeah.
But they go through essentially a portal, and their job is to investigate this area, record data. They're scientists, right? And this is the 12th or 13th expedition. And some of these expeditions were okay. Some of them never came back. Some of them came back wrong. Yeah. So like it's been a whole thing. Well, you follow the narrator of the book is a botanist. No, a biologist.
Yeah.
She's a biologist. And there was a linguist, but they quit before they even got there. There is a surveyor who used to be ex-military. There is a geologist, maybe. And then I can't remember what the fourth one is, but it's a group of 4 women. And they go to, it's Area X, not Planet X, Area X. And you go through a portal essentially to get there. And the main person, their like leader person that I can't remember what kind of scientist they are, hypnotizes them all before they go. Right? Yeah. It's so that they can remain calm in case something happens.
I'm in danger.
So they go through all this training and all these tests before they're allowed to go to Area X. And then they get hypnotized and then they go. And when they go through this portal and they say, do not look back at the door.
Why would you tell me that?
Right? So our biologist is like, I'm going to sneak a peek. So they look back, right? And I don't know if that caused something to make them not be the way that they were supposed to be when they got there, or this other thing that happened. So there's a lighthouse in Area X, and that was apparently very important because through all their training, they like highlight this lighthouse. It's on the map and everything like that. So they're going the opposite direction of the lighthouse, and they find what the biologist calls a tower and everybody else calls a tunnel, right? Because it's underground. Now, they cannot get this out of their head that this is a tower, not a tunnel. And through the entire book, that's what they call it. Even though everybody else disagrees with them. That's a tower. So, I don't know why. But they go down these stairs, and there's this writing on the walls. And they're looking at it, and the biologist goes up real close to it and like kind of touches one of the letters, and all these spores come off, and they kind of breathe it in. And it's like bioluminescent, and they through this whole thing, they're kind of investigating this tower / tunnel. But after this first night, they go back and they wake up, and one of their party members is missing. And the leader's like, oh, they decided they wanted out, so they left. But they're like being weird about it. So they're like, okay. So they go back to the tower / tunnel, and they're like, we're going to go down deeper. And their leader's like, I'll stay up here and watch things.
I'm so already untrusting.
I mean, it's smart. So they go down and they end up finding this area that's kind of like a flat landing before they go farther down the stairs. And they notice that the tunnel has like a heartbeat.
Oh.
like it's alive. I don't know. And they end up finding the charred up body of the member of their party that was missing.
That went home.
that went home. Yes. And they're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? I don't know, their leader person. I want to say that they're maybe the surveyor. I really can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't keep these people straight.
They all have jobs.
Yeah, the jobs.
The job. That one.
They go back up and find that they're missing. And they're like, what are we going to do? And they're like, I don't know. Well, our biologist is like, we should go discover what's at the lighthouse. Maybe they went there. And the other one's like, absolutely not. I'm going home. Because they told them that they could go to this certain rendezvous point, and that's how they could get home. And they're like, just give me one day. I'll go in the morning to the lighthouse, see what I can find, and then when I get back, we can go.
Yeah.
And they do not like this at all. And they're like, hey. So in the morning, our biologist goes to the lighthouse, and they discover this room. Like, I'm brushing over some really significant parts. I know it sounds like I'm telling the whole book, but I'm really skipping over some serious parts.
It kills me.
I promise. You can still read this book and be okay. They find this room full of journals, and they start reading all these journals and find out what happened to some of the other expeditions.
Oh.
And this Area X apparently takes people and creates copies of them.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And they go up into the lighthouse a bit, and they don't find their leader person. And then they come out, and they're like, oh, dang, there they are. Right? And they're like laying up against a tree, and they're all banged up and busted up and stuff like this. And they go to talk to them, and the person tries to use hypnosis on them, and it doesn't work. And they're like, I wonder if the spores are changing my body, and that's why I'm not susceptible to hypnosis anymore, which is not good. That's not a good thing. Well, their leader person ends up, saying that they saw something and they had to get away, so they jumped out of the top of the lighthouse.
Oh. Yeah.
Craziness. Well, biologist is like, okay, I'm going.
Bye now.
So they leave, and they end up running into the ex-military person that was back at the base camp.
Yeah.
And they try to kill them. And stuff happens, and our biologist ends up making it back to base camp, finding out that the ex-military person destroyed essentially all their data.
Oh man.
Yeah. So everything that they've collected, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go back down into the tunnel. I have to go back. The tower is what they call it.
Yeah.
I got to go back down in there. And they make it almost to the bottom of it. And there's this door that's like super bright, like blinding. And it feels like, even their brain is being burned. It's so bright. And they're like, I can't go through that. So then they go back up, and they're like, I'm not going home. So they leave their journal at the top of the lighthouse, and they go off into Area X. And that's kind of where it ends.
That's wild.
It really truly is. And there's like so much that I left out.
Yeah. I definitely will read this one. Avery put it on her summer reading list.
It's good.
And a summer reading got away from me. It's literally over in like maybe 2 weeks or something. I still haven't read one of her reading list books. I'm the worst.
I mean, it's a short read, so you could read it really quickly.
Yeah, I was definitely going to listen to it. I feel like sometimes I think creepy books are better to listen to than they are to read.
I love to listen to them, but reading them especially if you're like by yourself at night and you're reading
like a daytime book.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
The Ritual, that's a daytime book. Mm-hmm. You would not survive that book.
No.
I didn't want to go outside.
I'm so far out of that. No way. Okay, so the next book I'll talk about, Leather and Lark. by Bryn Weaver. Yeah, we love Bryn Weaver.
I need to read that. It's on my list.
These are smut books, okay? And I'll just go ahead and say it. They are, but they are dark, romantic comedies, and that's what they're like. And there is smut. There is smut,
but there's more of a plot than the smut.
There's an actual story, and also on top of that, like the sex scenes are not gross. Like you just don't get that with smut. You don't like.
You can only say certain words so many times before it's cringy.
No, But anyway, yeah. This is the second book, and this is about, okay, so Rowan and Sloane are the main characters of the first book, Butcher and Blackbird.
I love them so
Me too.
much.
And I specifically told Ariel, like, I really thought I loved Rowan, but it turns out I'm a Lachlan girly, and Lachlan is Rowan's brother.
You know, I feel like this kind of is like the Wisteria Society.
Yes.
How you had your certain person and I think it's going to be that kind of scenario.
Yeah. Cause I think, I don't know though. Like I really did love Rowan. Like I really, really did. But also Lachlan.
I'll have to read it and be like, maybe.
Yeah. Because I loved all of the men in the Wisteria Society. Like I love them all, but definitely. Okay. Anyway, back to the Leather and Lark. So Leather and Lark is about Lachlan, which is where Leather comes in. He has like a leather shop and he makes like leather things. So specifically, yeah. I mean, whatever.
Ooh,
and then Lark is Sloane's best friend, who is a singer, and she's like an aspiring singer. Like I guess she's a pop star, and she's like sort of.
She's kind of famous.
Yeah, she's like sort of big, but she's getting bigger. And if you read the first book, Lark is fully aware of everything Sloane does.
Oh, and she is so supportive.
Yes, she's the best.
It's like if
me
and Mallory.
Yes.
Like we would be so supportive.
Yeah. So yeah, like, sorry, Ariel, I'm a serial killer. Oh my God, wow.
I love that for you. Give me details.
Yeah, legitimately. And that's how Lark is. And it is so funny. So the book starts out with you're hearing from Lark, and she's in this field with her ex-boyfriend who is tied up and crying.
Poor baby.
Yeah, poor baby. And I'm just like, where the F is Sloane? I almost said it.
Yeah.
But I was like, she has to be around here. Like, Lark has to be like, oh my God, Sloane, this is too much. I'm going to end it. Yeah. She's like cackling and like, oh, you're awake. Like, what? Lark, you're a sunshine. Quit that. And she...
Even the sun can burn you.
She ties firecrackers. That's all I'm going to say about that, okay? Okay? But it's because she catches him sleeping with her friend. Like, not Sloane, but like another like mutual friend that they had. Like, not Sloane, but like her and her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. And he's like begging her like, oh my God, I didn't mean it. It didn't mean anything. And she's like, okay, this doesn't mean anything either.
Nothing personal.
Totally unhinged, and I'm here for it.
I love that.
And so you kind of are just like, I'm sorry, what? Okay, here's another thing, okay? The beginning of each of these books has the list of trigger warnings, and they're always hilarious.
I love the trigger warnings.
Hilarious, because I, like, some of these things, I'm surprised that they're called triggers, but I'm glad to know that they're in there.
It's
but
like
you never know when you're going to get it.
Auto-cannibalism.
Yes, auto-cannibalism.
Love that.
What do you mean?
What's that mean?
I found out what it meant.
It's where you eat yourself.
Yeah.
For any of those who didn't know, which means if it's right into my type of books, because cannibalism.
Both of these did, because they both had cannibalism. I tell you what,
love that.
Unhinged, these books, but they're funny. Like, I just don't even. Okay, so at the end of all these trigger warnings, okay, they say, "What do you expect? This is about a hitman falling in love with a serial killer." And I said, "What?"
Excuse me now?
I know what Lachlan is, but what do you mean a serial killer? I thought this was about Lark. And then it opens with that, and I said, ma'am.
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean?
You, like, in that first book, you would have no idea.
No.
None.
No.
You just thought
but
that she was so
supportive. It makes a lot more
supportive.
sense that she's just so open about it. Like, I mean, again, I get it. But Sloane doesn't know.
Really?
Really.
Oh, snap.
And there are reasons. But I won't talk about them because it's... wow.
Does she find out? I'm worried that she finds out and it's bad.
Maybe not. I don't know. I won't say. But yeah. And there's also, I don't know if you remember in Butcher and Blackbird, but like Lark and Lachlan are kind of like hitting it off, and then all of a sudden Lark is like, "F you."
Yeah,
and
I remember
they
that.
can't figure it out. You find out why.
Oh no.
Yeah, you find out why.
Did Lachlan screw up?
He really did.
Oh no.
But the whole thing is just a misunderstanding.
Oh.
But Lachlan like doubled down on it. Like straight up. Like when it happened. And then later. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, for certain. Sir. Yeah, he learned though. Oh, he learned.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just can't even get over these books. They're so freaking cute. They're hilarious. They're also gross. And I think everybody should read them, especially if you're not like super into smut. Oh God, these are these are a good enough dive for me into smut.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because we're not big into smut.
Yeah. These are definitely more romantic comedies, but they're very gross.
We love that.
Yes, we do. There's lots of murder, so don't expect anything else.
Yeah. See, if I like a romance, you're just going to have to understand it's violent.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was, and okay. I have 2 more books to talk about.
Go ahead.
Are you reading anything else right now?
I'm reading The Orchid Thief, but I can't talk about that yet because that's our nonfiction.
That'll be
my
nonfiction. Yep. Okay, so the other book, I have 2 more. The next one is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, which was written by Shannon Chakraborty, who is
love him.
also her, but S.A. Yeah.
What?
S.A. Chakraborty is a woman.
Dang. When I read that River of Silver, the way that they talked sounded like a dude.
Yeah.
Well, I love her then.
Yep. But she wrote The City of Brass, and which is one of my very favorites that we've had.
Very good.
It's so good. Highly recommend. This one also I highly recommend, and I think it's yes. Okay. So far there are 3 primary works. I think we're gonna get upwards of like 5 or 6 because no, maybe we'll get 5. I don't know. Hopefully 6. Hopefully more. I would love to read 1 million books in this world.
Mm-hmm.
So Amina Al-Sarafi is a pirate, and she is a badass pirate.
Ooh.
Like she comes from a family of pirates, and by family I mean her grandfather was a pirate and taught her everything that she knows. He was known as the Leopard of the Sea. So he was like very cutthroat, like everybody respected him, and she made her own name for herself. And specifically, she made it by stealing her grandfather's phone.
Why am I wheezing?
Yeah. She made her name initially by stealing her grandfather's boat and the Matawati. Yeah, Matawati. And
where you pick these books with the craziest names?
I know. But I mean, these also take place in I don't think it's specifically Egypt, but the same sort of area. So it's like a not necessarily Muslim area, but there are Muslims, there are Christians, like everybody from all walks of life. And it's definitely back in time. And so she steals her grandfather's ship, and then she basically turns her crew, like she turns like his old crew into her crew, and whoever didn't like sign on, she was like, then go, like you're not wanted. And she's built, like she had her crew, yada yada yada. And she is like a massive woman. Okay, I'm talking, she's like 6'5" or something. Like
Dang.
She's tall, and she is like, she's essentially described as an Amazon woman. Like she is
hot.
Yes, and I'm talking like hot. Everybody is like intimidated by her, but also they're like,
I want
Mommy?
to climb you like a tree.
Yes, basically. And I love her. But she has like all of these legends about her. She is just a fantastical pirate. Everybody is terrified of her. And she's actually retired, right? And she retired after like a very big event on her ship, like with some of her crew. And it's not really talked about, but it was very obviously traumatic. And so she retired and she has a baby. She has a little baby. And her daughter is, I think in this book, she's like around 7 or 8. And someone comes to the house, which she shouldn't, like, nobody should know where she lives because they're like essentially squatting in this house that's been abandoned forever. Yeah. And she's like fixing it up, and her mom lives with her. So it's her mom, and her daughter. And like her mom goes places. She does not, because she's very obviously like easily clocked.
Yeah.
And so,
hey, giant woman there.
Right? Yeah. So her mom is away on, I don't remember what she's doing. She's getting stuff, I think, for maybe them. I don't know. Anyway, this old woman comes just randomly to the house and is like, "It's the lady of the house there." And she pretends to be a servant because she's like, "Yeah, they should not know that anybody is here. Yeah. Like, this is obviously not right." So she's just kind of like, you know, her mom is like a perfumer. And that's specifically who that woman asked for. And she's like, "Well, she's not in the house right now. Can I take a message?" And she's like, "Nah, just wait until she's back." And
absolutely not.
Yeah, that's what I said. But she's like, "I'm a servant. I can't really say no. Like, the worst I can say is like, whatever." Anyway, so it kind of comes about that the woman definitely knows who she is, and she is specifically seeking her out to hire her to get her granddaughter back. And her granddaughter is actually the daughter of one of her crewmates who died in this traumatic event.
Oh, snap.
Right? So she doesn't really want to, she's like, "I'm retired, you know, like I am not," and she's essentially like, "I will blackmail you and make sure everybody you've ever made enemies with knows where you live. And they will also know that you have a daughter. And they will also know all this other stuff." Right. And so she's like, there's no amount of money. And she offers her like $1 million, I think it's called dinar, I think, which is a lot of freaking money. Okay. Yeah. Like a lot. Even like she originally offered 100,000. And even that was a lot. Yeah. A lot. And so she was like, $1 million? You can't be serious. Like, nobody. And she was like, "Well, my family has a bunch of artifacts and I'll just liquidate it all." Like, wow. And she's like that desperate to get her granddaughter back. So she's like, you know, fine, I'll do it for her. I'll do it, you know, because she is the daughter of my crewmate. This book gets terrifying. The bad guy is a magic using bad guy. And by magic, I mean like terrifying shit. Okay. It's terrifying. I said it.
This is why we can't record things.
Right? Yeah. It's terrifying. And she gets scared of it. And she's like dealt with magic before. And we're never really told who her daughter's father is. Although like the further we get in, we know. And it's kind of just like, oh, no. Like that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, so the whole book, it goes on fantastical journeys. I will not mention names, but there is a bit of crossover from City of Brass. Just a smidgy smidge. And I don't know if that's going to come in further. And if so, I will literally pee my pants. So, yeah. It was whenever I sent the message, I sent a message and was like, I'm not going to say what it is, but I sent the message and you hadn't seen it, and I was like, I need to delete this. This might be a spoiler.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. So I deleted it, thankfully, and you didn't see it. So it was that moment because my brain did like I remembered that name and I was like, wait a minute, my spidey senses are tingling. So I looked it up and I was like, oh
my God.
So yeah, fantastic. I loved it. Read it.
There's only going to be 3 of those.
Yes. But I think there are going to be upwards of 5. There better be anyway, is all I'm going to say.
Oh, this doesn't come out until September.
Yeah.
Of next year.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
I'm not sorry. Read it. I'm not sorry.
The third one doesn't even have anything.
Nope. And I'm not sorry. But I think just the way the first book ended, there might be at least 5 books in the series total.
Dang.
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. And this is like a pretty chunky book, but I can't explain how much I loved it.
Sounds so good.
It was I could not stop talking about this book for a long time. It's been, let me see here. Well, I don't know when I actually started reading it, but I think I started at the end of July and I finished it the end of June and I finished it the 1st of July. So like I finished this maybe in like 3 or 4 days.
That's not bad.
For a chunky book, that's pretty good.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. The last one is When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. That was Ariel's book club book.
To read that. I'm still on hold on Libby.
I returned mine, so hopefully you should be soon.
Let me see where I'm at.
When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. There was not enough of this book. I want more. I demand more, in fact. So I don't see that this is part of a series, so how freaking dare she?
I still have 8 weeks.
Oh, God. This is about main character Demeter, and he is Polish. And so this goes along a lot with Polish, like Strega.
Yeah.
What else? Oh my God, I can't even think. Anyway, Demeter is a knight of the order, and they're not that great. And he is not really like them. And and Ala is a Zamora, and then there's also Nico, who is, what was he? I can't remember. Anyway, this is all in Chicago, and he wants to find Baba Yaga to get rid of another knight of the order. Yeah.
I'm so glad I picked this book.
Yeah, it was so good. I want more of it. I'm so upset. I'm just going to say that. Okay, anyway. Fantastic book. It's very dark. I told Ariel whenever, years ago, I read a book called Wicked Saints by...
That's a good one.
I don't even remember her name now. Anyway, I loved the first book. The second book made me so angry I never finished the third one. I have it in Audible, but I just, whatever. Anyway, this is that kind of book. It's very dark. It's like got very gothy feels. There's the magic system. And I will just tell you that these Knights of the Order are terrifying, okay? They have their soul split in half. And the other half of their soul is turned into a bone sword that they store in their spine.
Whoa.
And to release it, gross. That's all I'm going to say. Gross.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Dang.
So good, though. Like, the dynamics of this book, they're so good.
I love Veronica Roth.
Yeah. Okay, but that's my last one. That one also got 5 stars. So it would be like 12. And also, Amina would probably also be 12. Yeah.
Those both sound really good. I can't wait to read When Among Crows.
Oh, so good. It was so dark. I
just
loved it.
Like that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. All right. Well, do we have any final thoughts before we run away?
No, not really. I'm proud of me for reading 6 books.
Me too, though.
Woo!
What am I reading right now, though? Oh God. Okay. Well, I was
going to say you were literally listening to one this morning.
The Curse of Sins, which The Curse of Saints is the first book, and this is the second book. I'm scared. This is also a dark book series.
Yeah.
You would very much like them.
Are you going to read my nonfiction?
Yes.
I'm almost done with it. I have an hour left. So
Yeah, I
should
need
be
to
able
put it on
finish
hold.
soon.
I think maybe I do have it on hold.
But
No, I don't.
I honestly don't know what I'm going to talk about with this book.
No?
No.
Dang.
Because it's just like so, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of information in there that's pointless. But yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about it right now.
Dang. Okay. Well, yeah, that's us. So let me open my thingy here. Our next episode, we will be doing another Curiosities, and that's going to be from Carla and Zach. They are going to do like a kind of why are these things called these things?
Which I love to figure that kind of stuff out.
So Carla has said like an example is like, why do we call $1 a buck? And like different things like that. So that'll be pretty interesting. I'm excited about it. Then we will be doing, I'm going to make sure about this. I don't know if we updated. Okay, we might have shuffled things around because we have a bunch of things coming up.
Authors.
Yeah, we have 2 authors coming up, so we have shuffled stuff around. So this is a very tentative next few episodes highlights. After the Curiosities, we're going to do Ariel's nonfiction pick, which is The Orchid Thief. And then we're going to do, let me see, my deep dive. And I was going to do The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. However, I changed my mind and we're going to do The Initial Insult by Mindy McGinnis. That's a quick read. It's also very fun, like very, very fun. The second book, the following book, is the best I can describe it is like a fever dream. Like
I love fever dream
they're
books.
all like, they're both very messed up, like very, very. And, but yeah, they're so good. So yeah, this one is actually a YA book, and, how messed up it is. Wild. Insane. Love it. Can't wait. Here we go. I died. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's time for us to sign off. But before we go, only the best libraries have librarians who don't shush you.